one chapter today, and that's Prior Incantum. Our first real direct fight between Harry and Voldemort that doesn't involve an intermediary, as Quirrell was. And as the Basilisk was. Like, this is no holds barred. We're going at it. And to continue Voldemort's myth-making, he's coaching this as a duel. No, it's frickin' not. A duel would not include any of the Unforgivables, which seem to be the only spells that this man knows. And also, it wouldn't involve death. Well, I guess again, there's two types of duels. Like, up on the platform duel, and then duel for honor type thing. So the duel for honor type thing might, yeah, probably involve death on that one, but I don't think that's how Voldemort is coaching this. Like, talking about all the niceties seems to point to more that dueling club atmosphere that Harry's having flashbacks to. And Harry sees right through this, because he's just like, no, this ain't. No, this ain't. And he actually refuses to bow. Which is very interesting, because Harry, Voldemort, and Snape are the sort of embodiments of the three brothers that we get from the story of the three brothers with death. Voldemort, of course, the power-hungry one, connected with the wand. Snape, the mourning lover, connected with the stone. And Harry, who is literally just trying not to die, connected, of course, with the cloak. And so what's actually happening here is Harry's refusal to play into this story right now. A story he is not even actually aware of at this point in time. But Voldemort says, come Harry, you have to observe the niceties. Bow. Bow to death. Not the capital D, death. Again, I don't think any of these people realize they're sort of playing into this story, but we can certainly see it. And so Harry's refusal to bow at that moment is Harry's actual recognition that he's not ready to die. The third brother, of course, eventually greets death as an old friend, and does so willingly. That is not this point here. Like, Harry's looking at it going, screw you. This is not how this is playing out. So he refuses to bow. And that, of course, leads to just an utter obsession on Voldemort's part for complete obedience, even by your enemies. Like, okay, complete obedience from your followers. Sure, you're considering yourself the leader here. But complete obedience from your enemies? How power-tripping is this man that he expects Harry to do whatever he's told to do? And that's the thing, is then when Harry doesn't, Voldemort makes him. Like, he makes him bow, and then he tries to make him beg not to get hit with the Cruciatus curse again. And you're just sort of like, this isn't showing Voldemort's power to us. This is showing a weakness in Voldemort. That he literally wants himself to be so powerful that everyone submits to him, including the people that fight against him. I think other people that wouldn't have this weakness would just recognize that, okay, we eliminate the people that don't obey. We don't try and force them to obey. Especially if you're then going to go kill them. And it's also this lack of recognition that using something like Imperio to make Harry beg is not actually making Harry beg. Harry is not submitting to you in a meaningful way in that moment. So what Voldemort's actually doing here is not showing his power, but showing just how immature in his power he actually is. This is the same Voldemort as the Tom Riddle at 16 that we had, who literally bragged about his power so much so that he forgot some really obvious knowledge about Phoenix. He hasn't grown in that power at all, at least not in an understanding of that power. He may have gotten more powerful, but what's he doing with it? Playing at dueling with Harry Potter? Demanding Harry to beg, and when he doesn't, trying to force him to, like that's meaningful? No, Voldemort is seriously overestimating his own understanding of how the world works. He thinks he's got it figured out because he's got all these Death Eaters who are willing to submit to him, but he doesn't understand what it means to fight for your life and stand up in the end and say, I'm gonna die, but I'm not dying the way you want me to, I'm dying the way I'm going to. He doesn't understand that. What he says is he doesn't understand death. He's never died before. It might even be painless. Oh, shove it, Voldemort. You're not impressing anyone here. Bet those Death Eaters are laughing because they're freaking scared of you. And the interesting thing is, Harry's in, like, the worst position, and in a lot of ways he's not scared. Yes, in a lot of ways he is, but in the really meaningful ways, aka he gets up and he comes out from behind that headstone before Voldemort comes at him, that is a choice he makes. To die upright like his father. And also, why is it his father, too? Like, why not his mother? Why is she not mentioned here? Because she certainly died upright. She died standing between Voldemort and a child. And I think that's as upright as you can get. I think Voldemort doesn't bring it up because, again, he's trying to build this mythology that he's never died. And maybe he didn't die entirely, but he certainly got defeated. And like I said, it was from a woman who was standing between him and a child. Like, she didn't even raise a wand to him. It was his inability to show mercy to a child that just... So, yeah. Voldemort, you're a lot weaker than you actually think you are. You might have the power with the wand, but you don't have, like, any real understanding of how the world works. You just want to flatten everything and it just be you, and that's not going to happen. Which leads me to the actual prior incantum thing, which I'm very happy to note that in the later printings, like the copy that I have now, they have fixed the editorial error of James coming out before Lily. In the first printings, Rowling wrote it that Lily came out first and then James, but the editors got it mixed up, so they changed it, and then it came out with James coming out first and then Lily, and a bunch of people are like, no, pretty sure James died first and then Lily, so if we're going in reverse order, Lily's gotta come out first. They have, in fact, adjusted that, and it is, in fact, Lily coming out first. Well, not first. We have Cedric, then we have... I want to get his name. because he deserves to have his name here, because he fricking stood up to Voldemort, which says all of us can do this. Frank. So we've got Cedric, we've got Frank, we've got Bertha, and then we've got Lily, who says, yeah, your father's coming, she said quietly. He wants to see you. It will be alright. Hold on. And then his father comes out. And he gives the instructions when the connection is broken. We'll linger only for moments, but we will give you time. You must get to the port key. It will return you to Hogwarts. Do you understand, Harry? And it's actually sort of interesting because he actually directly talks with all of them. Frank and Bertha offering like some straight up just do it, which is very interesting to see, because this is actually the moment where these wands connect, and we've got the Phoenix song and this golden light, and then these ghosts. This is the moment that, rereading this, I first get the hint that Voldemort is not going to win this. And that probably sounds really weird, because of course I've read the series. I know he's not going to win this. But there were points in time when we were defeating these other shades where it never felt palpable simply because Voldemort wasn't. And even though those were much more obvious victories than this seems much more like a draw, if not a minor loss on Harry's part. Yet it is the moment for me where I'm looking at Voldemort and I realize he is not going to win this. Because of two simple things. And that would be two things that Voldemort does not have that Harry does. One important for Harry, the other desperately important for Voldemort, not that he's ever going to realize it. The first is the feeling of hope, which Harry feels with the Golden Light. He hears it in the Phoenix song, and he notes that for him it is a feeling of hope. And that, in that moment, is when Harry recognizes that he's got an honest fight on his hands that he could possibly win if he is willing to fight. And he does. Even when it gets hard, even when he just wants to drop, he fights and he holds on for just as long as he needs to. But he also knows when hope means run and fight another day. The other thing that Voldemort is desperately lacking is mercy. And you ask, of course, why is this important here? Well, for a Dark Lord it probably doesn't seem important, particularly one who is running off the concept of rather be feared than loved. He doesn't even show mercy to his own followers. Why would he show mercy to anybody else? And the thing is that prior incantum here proves to us that your actions live on after you do that initial action. You cannot erase anything that you have done in your past. And it's a question of what you do. If you learned from it, if you try and fix things, if you did something wrong and you learn that it was wrong and you apologize and you try and make up for it, if you change your ways, learn from your mistakes, try and do better, then those past mistakes aren't going to be the only thing that define you. We see hints of this, I think, again, in a character that we don't see as much, which would be James. For reasons that Lily married him, so something in James must have changed from the bullying git that we see that allowed Lily to say, okay, your past mistakes are not the only thing that define you. You are better now, and that counts for something. The thing with Voldemort is he is not making any changes. We get 5 ghosts here. And interspersed through all of them, you'll notice, is hints of the other spells. Most notably Pained Screaming. So all the torture spells that he's cast are coming through here too. So what you're getting is an honest-to-God account of Voldemort's mercilessness that is then actually used against him, that lets Harry get away. All of these mistakes are piling up against him, and that's the moment you know that Voldemort is not going to win this. Because no matter how many people flock to him for power, there are always going to be the people that recognize that he is wrong, that he is without mercy, and that includes his own followers, because that's what's going to happen with the Malfoys and with Snape. Even if he has followers that stick to him, his inability to show mercy will always mean there are more people against him than with him. And they will fight even in the tiny ways. In the ways that maybe for him he can't see as mattering. Returning Cedric's body to his parents. That to Voldemort isn't going to make sense. But to Harry and to Cedric and to his parents, that is going to be the key moment. That is going to be the moment that people look at Voldemort and say, "You did this." And Harry tried to fix it. And who do you follow on that one? The madman who keeps ruining everything because he doesn't understand the world? Or the little boy who just wants people to be able to laugh and love and live together? Now, in this moment, you know that Voldemort, he might seem scary, he might seem terrifying, and he might kill a lot of people, but in the end, he is never going to win. We're almost there. 3 more chapters to go. I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope you do too. See you next time.